Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln wheat pennies coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're going deep, really deep, into the world of rare American coins to uncover the incredible story behind one of the most sought-after pennies in U.S. history, the legendary 1917 wheat penny. Now, before you skip past this thinking, it's just a penny, let me stop you right there. This isn't just any old copper coin. This tiny, humble piece of metal could be worth a fortune, and I'm not being dramatic. In fact, one of these rare beauties has been valued at a mind-blowing amount, and I'm going to tell you exactly how much in just a bit. But first, let's explore why this penny is turning heads in the collector world. Let's take a trip back to the year 1917. America had just entered World War I. It was a time of enormous change, uncertainty, and national pride. During this era, coins were more than just money, they were symbols of resilience, unity, and progress. In the midst of all this, the United States Mint was hard at work producing the iconic Lincoln wheat penny. This was no ordinary coin. The Lincoln cent had only been introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, making it the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. On the front, you see Lincoln's dignified profile. On the reverse, two wheat ears frame the words, 1 cent and United States of America, a simple but powerful tribute to American agriculture and growth. But here's where the real treasure story begins. In 1917, these pennies were struck at 3 different U.S. mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The ones with no mint mark came from Philadelphia. A small D meant it came from Denver. But the coins we're talking about today, the truly rare gems, were minted in San Francisco and are marked with a small S below the date on the front of the coin. Now you might be wondering, what makes the 1917 wheat penny so rare and special? Well, while millions were produced, the quality control in the San Francisco Mint wasn't always consistent. Many coins came out slightly off, and because of the heavy wartime usage and circulation, most of these pennies were worn down fast. That means finding one today in top condition is like finding a lost relic from another world, but it gets even more exciting. Some of the 1917 wheat pennies feature minting errors, and that's where the big money comes in. Let's talk about one of the most thrilling types of errors collectors go wild for: the double die error. This happens when the die that strikes the coin shifts slightly between impressions, causing letters or numbers, like the date or "In God We Trust," to appear twice, slightly offset. It creates a shadow-like doubling effect that's easily visible to the naked eye and highly desirable. Then there's the repunched mint mark error, where the small s was stamped more than once in different positions. These kinds of errors are unintentional, extremely rare, and drive coin collectors absolutely wild. Other rare variants include off-center strikes, die cracks, or coins struck on the wrong type of metal blank. Each of these mistakes turns an ordinary coin into a one-of-a-kind rarity, and one that collectors will pay serious money to own. But even without errors, just having a 1917 S in mint condition, what collectors call MS or mint state, is incredibly rare. Most surviving examples are heavily worn from decades of use. But every once in a while, someone discovers one that looks almost untouched by time. Sharp details, a glossy original finish, no scratches or discoloration. That's when the magic happens. Now, if you're lucky enough to own a 1917 wheat penny with a rare error and in top-grade condition, you've got something truly extraordinary. Because this isn't just a coin anymore, it's a piece of American history, a treasure from the past, and a highly valuable collector's item. So, how much can it be worth? Get ready for this. One such 1917 wheat penny, flawless condition, rare error, full historical appeal, has been valued at $6 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin originally worth 1 cent, now worth $6 million. Just imagine that for a second. A tiny copper penny, barely bigger than your thumbnail, possibly sitting in a drawer or passed down from a grandparent, could be worth more than a mansion, a sports car, or even a luxury yacht. This is why coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a hunt. It's a thrilling journey into history, full of surprises and possibilities. Because you never know what you might find in that old jar of coins, in a flea market, or even in your own change.so. If you're sitting on a box of old pennies or find one that says 1917 with a little s under the date, take a very, very close look. You might be holding something that could change your life. Top 2. We're about to take a deep dive into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins ever minted in the United States. So don't blink, because what we're talking about today might just be sitting in your coin jar right now. I'm talking about the 1936 Lincoln wheat penny. Now hold on, before you think, it's just a penny, let me tell you, this little coin isn't just copper and history, it could be a hidden fortune waiting to be discovered. That's right, a 1-cent coin that could be worth millions. But we're not jumping to the price just yet. There's a story behind this coin, a story that makes collectors fall in love with it again and again. So let's start from the beginning. The year was 1936. America was still recovering from the Great Depression. Jobs were scarce, bread lines were long, and every penny truly counted. And during that time, the U.S. Mint was quietly producing millions of Lincoln cents. Most of them would go on to live ordinary lives, passed hand to hand across soda counters, grocery stores, and factories. But a few, a very few, would become legends. The Lincoln wheat penny had already been in circulation since 1909. It was the first coin in U.S. history to feature the face of a real person, President Abraham Lincoln. That alone made the series iconic. But the reverse is where the nickname, wheat penny, comes from, those two elegant stalks of wheat curling up around the words, 1 cent. Simple, strong, and symbolic of American prosperity. Now, 1936 wheat pennies were struck at 3 different U.S. mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia ones had no mint mark, the Denver ones had a little D below the date, and the San Francisco coins had an S. All 3 are collectible, but what makes some 1936 wheat pennies incredibly valuable is not just where they were minted, but how they were made. Let's talk about errors and rarities, the stuff that dreams are made of in the coin world. In 1936, something unusual happened, a double die obverse error. This occurs when the die that strikes the design onto the coin gets misaligned or used more than once, but not in the exact same position. The result? The details on the front of the coin, like Lincoln's profile, the date, or the words, "In God We Trust," appear doubled, almost like a ghost image layered on top. This wasn't supposed to happen. These were accidents. But to collectors? These are jackpots. The 1936 double die wheat penny is one of the most famous errors in American coinage. The doubling is clear and dramatic. You don't need a microscope to see it, your eyes will catch it instantly, and your heart might skip a beat if you do. There are actually a few different varieties of double dies from that year, with the strongest one being the rarest, and the most valuable, but wait, there's more. Add in other possible errors like off-center strikes, die cracks, repunched mint marks, or even strikes on the wrong planchet, and suddenly, you're looking at a coin that is anything but ordinary. Now let's not forget condition. Most 1936 wheat pennies were used in everyday life and show signs of heavy wear. Scratches, fading, grime, it's all part of a coin's journey. But the coins that survived untouched, the ones that somehow escaped circulation, those are the hidden treasures. Imagine finding a 1936 wheat penny that looks brand new. Sharp lines, full mint luster, no dings or scratches. In the world of coin grading, that's called mint state, and those coins are rare. But a 1936 wheat penny in mint state condition and with a dramatic error? That's like hitting the collector's lottery, and here's where it all comes together. A 1936 Lincoln wheat penny, with a strong double die error, in pristine, uncirculated condition, with perfect details and verified authenticity, has recently been valued at an unbelievable figure. Are you ready for this? That single penny, yes, that 1-cent coin that might have slipped through millions of hands, has been appraised at a staggering $2 million. Let that sink in. 1 single penny worth $2 million. That's why we love coins, my friends. That's why collectors spend years hunting, researching, and inspecting. Because every once in a while, a coin comes along that rewrites the rules and makes history all over again. So if you've got a box of old coins, an inherited collection, or just a habit of checking your change, don't ignore those wheat pennies. Flip them over. Check the date. Look for that 1936. Look closely for any signs of doubling on the front. Because if you've got the right one, you might just be holding a $2 million masterpiece in the palm of your hand. Top 3, we're unlocking the hidden secrets of a tiny coin you've probably seen 100 times, but never looked at closely enough. That's right, we're talking about the 1940 Lincoln wheat penny. Now, don't be fooled by its humble look. It's small. It's copper. It says 1 cent. But beneath its surface lies a story filled with history, mystery, and, believe it or not, money. Serious money. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll see how a simple 1940 penny could be worth more than a luxury car, a dream vacation, or even a mansion. Let's rewind the clock to the year 1940. The world was on edge. World War II was already underway in Europe, and the United States was just months away from entering the fight. During this time, America was strong, united, and working hard to recover from the Great Depression. People held onto their coins tightly, every cent mattered, and during that very year, the U.S. Mint continued producing one of the most beloved coins in American history, the Lincoln wheat penny. With Lincoln's proud profile on the front, and the classic wheat ears on the back, these coins had already become icons of American coinage since their debut in 1909. Now, in 1940, these pennies were minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia ones had no mint mark, the Denver coins had a little D under the date, and the San Francisco ones had an S. All of them were made in huge numbers, with hundreds of millions released into circulation. So what makes a 1940 wheat penny special? Why are collectors going crazy over this common-looking coin? The answer lies in a few key words: condition, rarity, and error. Let's start with condition. Most of the 1940 wheat pennies you'll find today are heavily worn. They passed through thousands of hands over the decades, spending their lives in pockets, cash registers, and piggy banks. So when you find one in mint state condition, with sharp details, a full shiny surface, and no damage, it's already rare. But things get even more exciting when we talk about errors. Now, minting errors are the magical ingredients that turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. And guess what? Some 1940 wheat pennies were struck with dramatic and rare errors that make them incredibly valuable. One of the most famous errors is the doubled die. Imagine looking at the front of your 1940 penny and seeing the date, 1940, or the words, "In God We Trust," appear to be doubled, like a shadow behind the lettering. That's a double die error. It happens when the die that stamps the design on the coin shifts slightly between strikes, and these mistakes are highly sought after by collectors. There are also off-center strikes, where the design is visibly shifted to one side. Repunched mint marks, where the little D or S was stamped twice, overlapping. Even rare die cracks and clipped planchets, coins with small sections missing due to a minting flaw. These are not flaws to collectors, they're treasures. Each of these errors is unique. No two are exactly alike, and that's what makes them so valuable. They become one-of-a-kind pieces in a world full of ordinary pennies. And here's the kicker: not all of these rare 1940 wheat pennies are sitting in museums or auction houses. Some are still out there. In old coin collections. Forgotten drawers. Grandpa's cigar box. Your grandma's coin jar. These are the places where hidden treasures wait to be discovered. Now imagine this: you find a 1940 wheat penny. At first glance, it looks like any other, but then you notice the shine. The sharp lines. The strange doubling in the date. Or maybe an odd off-center strike. You look closer, and your heart skips a beat. Could it be? Could you be holding one of the rarest pennies ever made? Well, here comes the moment you've been waiting for. You want to know what one of these rare 1940 wheat pennies could actually be worth, right? let's just say this. If you have a 1940 wheat penny with a major error, in perfect uncirculated condition, authenticated by professionals and preserved without damage, that little 1-cent coin could be worth $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1 million for a single penny. That's why coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a hunt. It's a passion. It's a journey through time, where every coin tells a story, and some coins rewrite your future. So what are you waiting for? Grab your magnifying glass, start digging through those old boxes, and keep your eyes open. Because that $1 million penny might just be waiting for you to find it. Top 4, we're diving deep into one of the most iconic coins in American history, the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny. At first glance, it might look like any other old cent. But some versions of this coin are so rare, so unique, and so sought after, that they've turned heads across the entire numismatic world. Let's take a journey through time. Picture this, it's 1939. The United States is still clawing its way out of the Great Depression. A world war is on the horizon. Life is uncertain, but pennies are everywhere. In fact, the Lincoln wheat penny had already become a symbol of stability. But here's the twist, not all pennies from 1939 were created equal. And some of them? They've become legendary. The standard 1939 Lincoln wheat penny was minted in 3 locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most of these coins were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, with the classic wheat stalks on the reverse and Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. Simple, right? But here's where things get interesting. Collectors aren't just after ordinary coins. They want the ones with stories. The ones with errors. The ones that slipped past inspectors at the mint. And guess what? The 1939 Lincoln wheat penny has all of that, and more. Some of the rarest and most valuable versions of this penny have double die errors, where the coin design appears to be stamped twice, creating a ghost-like image that's hard to miss once you know what to look for. You'll see it most clearly in the date, the word liberty, or the motto, "In God We Trust." These double strikes weren't meant to happen, but that's exactly what makes them so incredibly collectible. Then there's the off-center strike, where the coin's design is misaligned. Instead of being perfectly centered, it looks like the mint mark or part of Lincoln's head is drifting toward the edge of the coin. These errors are rare, and when they're dramatic enough, collectors will pay serious cash to get their hands on one. And we haven't even mentioned the mint mark mysteries. Some 1939 pennies from Denver and San Francisco have weak or missing mint marks due to worn dies. In a sea of billions of pennies, these tiny details can make a massive difference in value. Now let's talk numbers. In circulated condition, your average 1939 Lincoln wheat penny might be worth a few cents to a few dollars. Not bad, but nothing earth-shattering. But if you have a 1939 penny in mint state, with a clear double die error, or a stunning off-center strike, then you're holding something truly special. Coin collectors across the world know just how rare these error coins are, especially when they're preserved in excellent condition. Finding one is like discovering a hidden time capsule, untouched, flawless, and full of history. So how much could the rarest 1939 Lincoln wheat penny be worth? Get ready for this, because in the rarest of cases, with the perfect storm of condition, rarity, and error, one of these humble 1-cent coins has been valued at $3 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, worth $3 million. Now if that doesn't make you want to go digging through your old coin jars, I don't know what will. So don't underestimate those little copper coins. They might be small, but they could hold massive value. Check your pennies, look for those tiny errors, and who knows, you might just be holding a millionaire's treasure in the palm of your hand. Top 5, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of American coinage to explore one of the most iconic and collectible pennies in U.S. history, the 1942 Lincoln wheat penny. This tiny coin may seem ordinary at first glance, but it hides a story of rarity, remarkable minting errors, and incredible value that every collector dreams about. The 1942 wheat penny comes from a pivotal time in American history. The country was deep into World War II, and the economy was shifting to support the war effort. Metals like copper were in high demand for manufacturing ammunition and other military supplies. As a result, the U.S. Mint had to adapt their coin production processes in some unique ways, which makes coins from this year particularly interesting and valuable. The 1942 penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, No mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. Millions of these coins were circulated, but what collectors are really hunting for today are the rarest specimens, those that have survived in pristine condition or feature minting errors that make them stand out from the rest. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1942 wheat penny is the presence of a particular minting error known as the 1942/1 error. During production, the mint mistakenly struck some 1942 pennies over leftover 1941 dies, causing the date to appear partially doubled or showing remnants of the one from 1941 beneath the two of 1942. This kind of double date error is rare and highly sought after by collectors, as it's a clear glimpse into the minting process and its occasional imperfections. Besides the date errors, some 1942 wheat pennies also feature the classic double die variety. This error occurs when the die used to stamp the coin shifts slightly between impressions, creating a doubled image on the date, lettering, or other design features. Double die coins are prized for their uniqueness and visual appeal, and their rarity can drive their value through the roof. Condition is another key factor that can transform a modest penny into a collector's treasure. Most 1942 wheat pennies in circulation today show obvious signs of wear, scratches, dings, discoloration, but when one is found in mint state condition, with crisp details and original luster, it becomes incredibly valuable. The highest grades of these coins, certified and preserved, can fetch extraordinary prices in the market. Another interesting detail collectors love to explore are subtle differences in the mint marks and design features, like variations in the D or S mint marks, which can sometimes indicate an even rarer version of the coin. So, why are collectors so captivated by the 1942 wheat penny? It's because this coin is not just a piece of currency, it's a tangible connection to a momentous chapter in American history, a testament to craftsmanship, and a potential gateway to fortune. Now, you might be wondering just how valuable one of these pennies can be. While the typical 1942 wheat penny might only be worth a few cents or dollars in circulated condition, the rare error coins and pristine specimens tell a very different story. If you happen to have a 1942 wheat penny with that elusive /1 date error or a rare double die, and it's in near perfect condition, certified and authenticated by experts, you could be holding a coin worth an astonishing $894,000. That's right, nearly $900,000 for a single 1-cent coin. It's an incredible example of how a tiny piece of history can carry immense value, capturing the hearts and wallets of collectors worldwide. So, the next time you stumble upon a 1942 Lincoln wheat penny, look closely, it could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Top 6. We're venturing into the fascinating world of American coinage to explore a penny that looks ordinary but is anything but. We're talking about the 1937 Lincoln wheat penny, a coin steeped in history, mystery, and, believe it or not, tremendous value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just love hearing about hidden treasures, listen closely because this tiny coin has a story that could change everything. Let's start with some history. The year 1937 was a pivotal time in the United States. The country was climbing out of the Great Depression, and while things were starting to improve, every penny mattered. The Lincoln wheat penny had already been in circulation for nearly 3 decades, a symbol of American resilience, featuring Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front and the iconic wheat ears on the back, a design that would remain beloved until 1958. But why does the 1937 penny stand out among millions of others? It's all about rarity and error, the things that make collectors' hearts race. In 1937, the U.S. Mint produced pennies at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, marked with a D, and San Francisco, marked with an S. While hundreds of millions of pennies were minted that year, the true treasure lies in the small number that came out with minting errors and those that have survived in pristine condition. One of the most fascinating errors you might find on a 1937 wheat penny is the double die. Imagine looking closely and seeing the date, or the letters "In Liberty" or "In God We Trust," appearing doubled, like a ghost image behind the original lettering. This happened when the coin's die shifted slightly during the minting process, creating a striking and rare effect. These double die pennies are incredibly desirable because they are visually distinct and unique. No two are exactly alike. There are also rare varieties with off-center strikes, where the design isn't perfectly aligned on the coin blank, resulting in a strikingly unusual look that collectors adore. Then, there are pennies with repunched mint marks, meaning the mint mark was stamped more than once, creating a subtle but fascinating variation. The condition of the coin is just as crucial as the error itself. Most 1937 pennies have seen decades of circulation and bear the marks of time, scratches, wear, fading. But those few that have survived with full original luster and crisp details? They are gems, and their value skyrockets when certified as near mint or uncirculated. Now, let's talk about why collectors chase after the 1937 wheat penny. This coin represents more than just currency, it's a snapshot of America's past, a tangible connection to a bygone era. It's a piece of history that you can hold in your hand, and if you're lucky, one with rare features that make it worth far beyond its face value. So what's the bottom line? How much could a rare, error-filled 1937 wheat penny be worth today? If you have one of these extraordinary pennies, especially a certified double die or a rare mint error, in pristine, uncirculated condition, you could be holding a coin valued at a staggering $3 million. Yes, $3 million for a single cent. It's a powerful reminder that even the smallest things can hold unimaginable value. So next time you find yourself digging through old coins, pay close attention. You might just uncover a $1 million treasure hiding in plain sight. Top 7 and last unique coin, we're diving into the captivating world of one of America's most iconic coins, the 1941 Lincoln wheat penny. This humble little penny might seem ordinary at first glance, but listen carefully because it hides a world of history, rare minting quirks, and incredible value that every collector dreams about. The year 1941 was a turning point in American history. The country was on the brink of entering World War II, and every cent counted more than ever. The Lincoln wheat penny, with its classic design featuring President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, was still the coin people trusted and used daily. But behind this familiar face lies a story of rarity and value that makes the 1941 penny a true collector's gem. Millions of 1941 pennies were minted across 3 U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. While most of these pennies entered circulation and wore down over the decades, a select few have survived in remarkable condition, untouched by time, with stunning details still intact. But the real magic for collectors comes with the rare minting errors that can be found on some 1941 wheat pennies. One of the most sought-after varieties is the famous double die error. Imagine looking closely at a penny and noticing that the date or the inscriptions, like Liberty or In God We Trust, appear doubled, almost as if the coin was stamped twice, slightly off register. This happened when the die used to strike the coins shifted during the minting process, creating an incredible and eye-catching effect. These double die pennies are not only rare but visually dramatic, making them a prized possession in any coin collection. In addition to double dies, there are other fascinating errors such as off-center strikes, where the design isn't perfectly aligned on the coin blank, or repunched mint marks, where the mint mark letter appears duplicated or misplaced. Each of these mistakes creates a unique fingerprint that makes a coin one of a kind, and much more valuable. Now, let's talk about condition, which is critical when it comes to valuing these pennies. Most 1941 wheat pennies found today are worn, with smooth surfaces and faded details due to years of circulation. But a penny preserved in mint state, showing crisp features, original luster, and no signs of wear, can command a huge premium. Coins graded MS-65 or higher by reputable grading services are considered incredibly rare and highly desirable. The combination of rarity, error, and condition is what drives the astonishing value some of these coins can reach. While most 1941 pennies might only be worth a few cents or a couple of dollars, the rarest error coins, especially in pristine condition, have captivated collectors and auctioneers alike. So what is the true value of a 1941 Lincoln wheat penny with those special qualities? If you are fortunate enough to own a flawless 1941 wheat penny with a significant minting error, like a certified double die variety, in near-perfect condition, you could be holding a coin valued at a staggering $1 million. Yes, $1 million for a single, 1-cent coin. It's truly remarkable how something so small and common in everyday life can turn into an extraordinary treasure worth millions. So, the next time you stumble upon a 1941 wheat penny, don't just toss it aside. Examine it closely. It could be the key to a fortune that many only dream of. Thank you for joining me on this deep exploration of the incredible 1941 Lincoln wheat penny. If you enjoyed this video and want to uncover more rare coin stories and hidden gems, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Keep hunting, keep collecting, and stay curious, because the next treasure might be just around the corner.